Code Talker by Joseph Bruchac. Author's Note: A History of the Navajo People. Who are the Navajos? Before speaking about this novel, I need to say a few words about the history and present circumstances of the Navajos, those who call themselves Dene, a word meaning the people. Ethnologists tell us that the distant ancestors of the Navajos came into the Southwest 1,000 or more years ago. That may be so, for their language links them with the Athabascan people of Alaska. The Navajos themselves say that they emerged into this world from a hole in the earth, and that this world is only one of a number they have lived on until catastrophic events forced them to leave. The place where they arrived is an area bounded by 4 sacred mountains, now known as the Four Corners area, where the present-day states of New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah come together. It is seen to them to be a giant house, or hogan. The sky is its roof, the earth is its floor, and those mountains are the house poles. That image alone should be enough to make anyone realize how deeply spiritual and poetic Navajo traditions are. Those traditions appear to be related to those of the Pueblo nations of the Southwest. They include incredibly beautiful chants used in healing ceremonies in which they appeal to the sacred spirits, their holy people. Translations into English of some of those chants, or ways, are today some of the best-known examples of American Indian oral tradition. Beauty above me, I walk. Beauty below me, I walk. Beauty behind me, I walk. Beauty before me, I walk. Beauty all around me, I walk. In beauty, all is restored. In beauty, all is made whole. Some historians have characterized the Navajos as warlike raiders, preying on the other tribes in their region. I do not believe this is accurate, especially when one considers the importance of balance and peace in the sacred ways of the Dene. The arrival of the Spanish seems to have deeply upset the balance within and between the native nations of the Southwest. The Spanish also introduced widespread slavery. Throughout the Mexican Southwest that later became New Mexico, countless thousands of American Indians were captured and forced to work in the mines or as personal slaves. Virtually every Spanish household had its complement of Indian slaves. When the United States gained control of the Southwest, the Navajos thought at first they'd been liberated. Unfortunately, the Americans listened not to the Indians, but to the New Mexicans, who wished to continue the slave trade and convinced the United States to engage in warfare against the Navajos. A brutal campaign was then waged under the leadership of Kit Carson. It resulted in the total defeat of the Navajos, the destruction of their homes, fields, and orchards, and their forced exile for several years to a bleak outpost in New Mexico, far from Deneta. The Navajo Long Walk, which ended that campaign, was as awful an experience for the Navajos as the Trail of Tears was for the Cherokees. It was a forced march of almost the entire Navajo Nation. More than 10,000 people trudged 400 miles across mountains and deserts to a desolate army post. So many died along the way that modern Navajos still speak of it as if it was just yesterday. By the late 1860s, some thought that the Navajos were not only a defeated people, but a people on their way to extinction. Yet, the Navajos never gave up. After years of bitter exile, they were allowed to return to their homeland, only after pledging never again to take arms against the United States. Their warrior tradition was supposed to be ended forever. The recovery of the Navajo Nation that took place over the next century and a half is so incredible that one might conclude that not only are the Navajos one of the most remarkable native nations that has ever existed, but also that they have truly been blessed and protected by their holy people. Today, the Navajo Reservation comprises 26,897 square miles. It is the largest Indian reservation in the United States. There are more than 200,000 Navajo people today. Although it is not without its problems and challenges, the Navajo Nation has been described as one of the most economically prosperous and forward-looking of all the American Indian nations in the United States. Yet, it is also true that a deep regard remains for the ancient traditions of Dinétah.